Hello, everyone. Hello. Good morning.
Hi,
Sorry, good evening.
Good evening.
good
Mm,
evening.
Good
Okay.
evening.
Okay. Warm welcome to our audience and our panelists. To our webinar tonight. Today we are gonna talk about how to save, invest, and manage your risk. So we have our three panel today. They are our Advantage Advisory Licensed Financial Planner. Welcome everyone to our show today.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Hi. Okay. For our panel today, the first panel is Mr. Kian. He will be presenting on risk management. And then our second panel is Miss Angel. She will talk about investing. And the last panel is Miss Eyvonne, where she will discuss about estate planning. So before we get started, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nurul Khairiah. I am your moderator for the webinar tonight. And if you have any inquiries or any questions regarding our session today, you can just type out your questions in the comment section below, and we will answer them in the Q&A session after this. So for the benefit of our audience, we would like our panelists to introduce themselves, starting from Mr. Kian.
good evening, everyone. My name is Kian Ng. I'm actually from Klang Valley. I'm stationed in KL. I have been a licensed financial planner for about 4 years right now. So I'm a licensed financial planner with Well Vantage Advisory. Um, I will be sharing on risk management in a moment. So back to you, Kai. Thank you.
Thank you, Kian. Our second panelist, Miss Angel.
Hello, good evening. I'm Angel from Sarawak, a licensed financial planner with Well Vantage Advisory and holding both the CFP and the IFP, which means Certified Financial Planner and Islamic Financial Planner. And I've been in the financial industry for 10 years, more than 10 years, sorry. Okay, so so far tonight, I will share with all of you on the investment planning topic. Okay, so back to Kai.
Thank you, Angel. So our third panelist, Miss Eyvonne.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Eyvonne from Kota Kinabalu, and I'm a licensed financial planner with Well Vantage Advisory. And I've been in the financial services for about 10 years now. And I hold license under registered financial planner and Shariah registered financial planner. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for the introduction. So we don't want to waste any time. So without further ado, Mr. Ken will present about managing your risk in Malaysia.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my name is Kian. So I'll be sharing on risk management. So this is a very important topic whereby it actually tells you how much risk each and every one of us actually been exposed to. So some might not be related to you, but some are actually it might be actually related closely to you or to the relative that are actually attached to you. So uh, let's begin. So we will talk about what is risk management. Most of the time when we ask these questions, I think a lot of people or a lot of clients or a lot of new prospects, they will always relate risk management to insurance or takaful. So I think we can actually quite sure to say that this is actually the right topic whereby we are talking about any financial risk that we are actually been exposed to. So what is risk management? So we are talking about financial risk, which is all the unthinkable events which possible or possibly make a big impact to one financial standing. So whereby it actually, if any of this event happens, it will actually make some impact to one person's financial standing, whereby the family may not be able to run smoothly as before. So let's look at some of the examples. So first is actually when death occurs. Of course, when death occurs, then of course we are mourning about the person who is already left. But what is being left behind is actually maybe a bigger problems. So death is one of the financial risks that we are looking into. Secondly, is actually critical illness, whereby at this moment of pandemic, we are talking about what if I were actually diagnosed, or actually being diagnosed with any of the 36 illnesses, or even coronavirus. So these are one of the things that we are looking into financial risk, which is critical illnesses. Unexpected repairs, this is the third financial risk we are talking about. I guess most Malaysians will have own a car, or vehicles for them to go for transportation, goes everywhere to go to work or leisures. So unexpected repairs will actually cause leakages, which means more money is going to flow out from your own pocket for the repairing, right?
Yes.
So I think the next one will be fire. Fire is one of the perils on our asset, which is it could be happening to the car or the home. So I think most of the people will have a fire insurance attached to their loan. So if you are not aware of that, later we will discuss about it. Then you can tell me about it, whether you have it or not. Then the last but not least, the financial risk that everybody may expose to is actually to optimize the tax deductions. So these are the risks that we are talking about, the financial risk. So next, I think. So why do we need to manage the risk? Okay, I think we have to look into the overall overview of an employer or employee financial objective based on your age. Interestingly to say that most of us, when we are at our own early 20s, when we started to finish our university and come into the to start our career path with some company or some firm. So we often go into two stages. So what are the stages? First is actually stages whereby we need to protect and accumulating our wealth. This is stage one. Whereby stage two will be distributing wealth. As you can see from here, often happens is after you retire, then you officially entering into stage number two, whereby you started to think about who or what should I give away if I'm no longer around. So these are some common financial life stages whereby you can see objective number one is actually to protect against risk. So this is important elements whereby when we are young, when we are healthy, this should be managed at the beginning point, whereby then later we go into objective number two, number three, number four, and so on. So stage number two will be our retirement. So we are always talking about, hey, everybody have insurance protection. I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. So perhaps I can have people started to write down in a comment how many of you have more than 3 policy. You type in +1 in the comment. Can you type in +1 in the comment? How many of you have more than 3 policies with yourself? Okay, we give a little bit of like 1 minute of time for everybody to respond. While I'm talking about the 90% of Malaysians are actually underinsured. Even though you have 3 policies in hand, you might not have the right protections that you have. For example, I have, when I first started my work, of course not financial planner during that time, I also have policies with me. But during that time, unfortunately, I do not know what do I have. I do not know how much do I have protection, and so forth. So that it will be something that we need to look into to see if the policies that we have or the policies plan that we have, is it right, suitable to what we are currently having right now. All right, next. So I think we will look into financial risk in different angle, whereby it always go into, for people who have insurance policy, they will have sum assured, I'm sure you are exposed to it. Sum assured, you also have a death coverage, you also have disability coverage, you have medical coverage in terms of surgical and medical, you also have personal accidents coverage. So let's look into each and different coverage that we have. What are they for? I think most of the people will have the insurance policy with them and say, hey, I have insurance with me, but how much do you have? Is it sufficient to cover your needs at the time when you are still single, but when you are get married, when you got married, and when you have children? So these are the different timing or life stages that we're talking about, that you need different financial risk management, whereby different level will have different risks. So let's look into number one, family income. Family income insurance seeks to ensure that the survivor or your survivor dependents have immediate access to the required funding upon someone's passing. So we are talking about often we talk about what when people when one person is no longer around, say, well, if I die, I die. But is it truly that questions? If I die, then no more issues. But I think when death occurs, then what happened to the dependents who are surviving spouse or the surviving family member who have been left behind? So what do they need to do? So family income will be one of the so-called the risks that we need to manage, whereby when this scenario happen, then we can go to the next slide. When coming to debt cancellation. Why debt cancellation? Because I think for Muslim is actually a very simple gesture, whereby one of the Rukun Islam is say before one pass away, when one person pass away, all the debts must be paid off first. So it's to settle all the outstanding debts, either your car, your house, or all the other debts to any of the personnel, and ensure the smooth transfer of this asset to the beneficiary. So this is very important, whereby family income take care of debt cancellations. So it also takes care of the second one, which is final expenses. So it covers all the expenses related to the last rites. So I think Chinese will have a more, how do I say, a more traditional way of doing funeral expenses, whereby there's a going away parties for the deceased. So this 3 days 2 nights or 5 days 3 nights sort of package is something that we call final expenses, which I think the family member needs to take care of it. So the family income will take care of this part as well. So I think we go to number 3, whereby estate administration. Interestingly to say, this part, most of the people did not look into this area, whereby it actually affect their asset that we have. It may not be able to transfer to the beneficiary or the nominees that we are, or the loved one. So it covers the estate administration related costs and also fee. Normally we take about, if there is no will or wasiat, it will take at least more than 3 years to settle all this estate distribution. So I think finally we will have the family support, whereby if there's one person, this sole breadwinner pass away, the family also needs support, because I think my colleagues Eyvonne will share about estate planning later, whereby upon disease, all the asset will be frozen. So this family income will actually help to covers all the short-term living expenses for the surviving dependents, including the financial commitment for at least 6 months. Okay, this is what we call family income. That come into the debt. So let's go into number 2, income replacement. Interestingly to say, this is actually related to the first one. Income replacement insurance needs seek to ensure that your dependents and you yourself have sufficiently funding in the event that you are no longer able to generate income before retirement. Because I think the scenario will be like this. If let's say one day I go out to work and I was hit by a car, so there will be 2 scenarios. One, I die, pass away, die immediately. So that will be the first scenario, but I need to provide income replacement, family income to my family. But if I don't die, mati tak pergi, then how? So that will be the income replacement that I need in the event that I need to get recovers. So it focuses on the total and permanently disablement needs. All right. So let's look into that. Because in order to recover, you need time. Okay, you need time to recover. You need to go for physio session, maybe acupuncture, and all the others, which will be a combination of costs. Added on to your actual income that you actually family expenses that you need. So that is to cover all the financial needs over a period of time before you reach a retirement. So ideally, we say cover the time of the TPD until retirement. But of course, we will put some, a measurement, at least 5 years of annual expenses that you are currently earning, are currently spending. So this will be a benchmark, but of course, we will need to look into a different, subjective to different individual. All right. So after income replacement, we will look into hospitalization and surgical benefit. Or this is one of the risks I think most people will actually quite concerned, because hospitalization cost, I think everybody know, is actually quite expensive. So it costs most of the people going into credit card debts because they were not prepared for it. So hospitalization and surgical insurance is a medical insurance policy that protect you in the event of a medical emergency which require hospitalization, where this person need to be warded, going for the operation theater, and also to do some treatments. So covering the cost of treatments. So everyone should have their own personal medical card and not solely rely on company benefit. I believe most of us will have company benefit, but how many of you, can I have some response from the audience who are actually currently viewing this webinar? So how many of you know how much is your company covering you in the event of hospitalization and surgical? If you know, you put +1. If you know how much exactly your company is covering you, you put +1, campur satu. But if you do not know anything, then you put a cross there in the comment section. Okay, put a cross there. Okay, so that ideally we say room and board coverage will be at least 200 ringgit per room per day. This is our benchmark. So we have high annual limit. But currently everything will be on at least 1 million, and there is no lifetime limit. Okay, so this is number 3, hospitalization and surgical. So what is number 4? Critical illnesses. I think most people will be very much concerned of what if I was diagnosed? What if I were diagnosed with one of the illnesses? So do I get paid? Because some of the people, I'm sure most of you who come into this webinar will have these questions. I have critical illnesses coverage, but how much do I have? I may not know. Do you really look into the policies and say, hey, this is my coverage? I know exactly if any of the critical illnesses happens by stage 1, stage 2, or final stage, I'll be covering by this particular insurance company for how much, for how many percent. So critical illnesses insurance seeks to provide with financial aid in the form of lump sum payment upon diagnosis of the critical illnesses. So we often put it into covers the lump sum amount required for medical treatments, and also cover the cost of living during the recovery period. So ideally, again, we say ideally, the sum assured of 3 years annual income, or minimum 300,000 and maximum 1 million. That is our benchmark. But again, I would like to stress on, it's actually subjective to individual. Some may not need 1 million, right? So number 5, I think we are going into something, this is a peril, this is a risk that most of the people exposed to. This is what I call personal accidents. So personal accidents insurance help you to cope with financial challenges due to life-changing incidents. So often happens to what? Car accidents, road accidents, even on the fire, and then other coverage in the event of serious injuries such as loss of limbs, part of the fingers, digit of fingers. Again, a lot of people may not know what is their, their insurance covering are for. They may not be able to, if they lost one digit of their fingers, will they be compensation under the personal accidents? So these are some of the, interesting questions. Yet a lot of people have personal accidents coverage, but they do not know their rights. Okay, so it provides you with a lump sum payout in the case of permanent disablement. Okay, so it also ideally, like we always say, ideally sum assured of 3 years annual income, or minimum 300,000, or maximum 1 million. Okay, so after we know about family income replacement, we have medical hospitalization and also critical illnesses, and last but not least, the personal accidents. So we should look into exploring the right insurance products, because you may I'm sure from the time you step into the society and started to work for yourself, either in different industry, some of your friends may come to you and say, "Hey, bro, let's come out and let's have a drink." So guess what? Sometimes they say, "Oh wow, it could be MLM, it could be insurance, or it could be anything." So, but things are like that. So when people talk, or when your friends talk about insurance plan, okay, you might say, "Okay, I think I could go a little bit with 200 ringgit per month." So, but this 200 ringgit per month is what? What are these products? What are these solutions? So this is the main type of insurance product for individuals, whereby we can actually categorize them into 4. First is actually what we call term insurance. Second is whole life insurance. Third is actually what we call endowment or saving plans. And last but not least will be investment link. So, but what are these 4 different insurance products for individual in Malaysia? So it different in terms of covering period, it's different in terms of purpose, and also in terms of the premium that you need to pay. So of course, from the table you can see the lowest for a coverage premium is actually goes under the term policies. So not the endowment saving and so forth. So from this table you can see, what if you are at the category of you are buying a life policy, but you are getting an endowment or saving plans at this moment? What does it mean? It means that you are paying a high premium. Yes, it does give you saving purpose, but it also on a limited years, it actually covers you, but you are on a high premium payment. So for a licensed financial planner, we always look into this perspective. Well, are you able to pay, or are you afford to have this high premium insurance policy or endowment plans with you at this moment when it's actually tighten your cash flow? So this is something that we need to look into. The different products serve at different purposes. So choose the right one to suit your needs the best. So purchase insurance for protection, not for saving or investment. This is the whole idea, whereby we always say buy terms, invest the rest. So whereby later my colleagues Angel will talk about investment. So insurance is mainly for protection, right? I think next we can go. I think we will just provide a simple, smart risk management process for each and every of you who are attending the webinar. So I think the first one is to identify your existing coverage in hands, whereby you say, I have purchased so many different policies with me. I don't know what I have. I support my friend, I support my relative, I support each and everyone who come to me. I sign the paper and then I say, I got the policies. But in actual fact, do you know what you have? So that is one critical question that we need to ask. So you need to identify your existing coverage in hand. So secondly, will be identify different protection needs, i.e. in terms of death, disability, medical, and also personal accidents, whichever is needed. For example, I personally, this is my personal view, whereby we say, if you are at retirement age, you're already no longer in the working force. So is death a disability coverage? a high death and disability coverage is actually suitable for you. So we actually need to review this situation or these policies. So let's look into number 3. Yeah, after you know what you have in hand, after you know what you need, so you need to match them, you see, to identify if there's any gaps. Gaps means what? I still have shortfall in terms of death coverage or medical coverage or personal accident coverage. So if there is such a gap, then we go to number 4, whereby we decide to transfer the risk to insurance company or we do self-insured. So a lot of time, why we are putting this situation on, because we say, well, if I don't have that much of money or the asset to back me up, so I transfer my risk to insurance company. That is what the insurance company is purpose, whereby it's actually transfer your risk to them by you paying a fraction of the premium from your salary. So if anyone would have the scenario like where I have a lot of asset, I can actually back it up with actually, if anything happens, I sell this asset or I use up this asset. Okay, for example, saving or fixed deposit or whatever, then you can actually decide not to transfer the risk via insurance company. Okay, last but not least will be identify the right solutions which is suitable to close the gap. Again, I'm talking about the table earlier. If you are getting a different plan or a wrong plan for your actual scenario, so either you are in a scenario whereby you are paying a higher premium, or you may not get the coverage that you need. Okay, so I think I will stop here. This is my last slide, whereby I will welcome any comments. If let's say with regard to risk management, please feel free to actually write into the comment sections, whereby we can actually answer them later. Back to you, Kai.
Okay, thank you, Kian, for the eye-opening explanation about managing your risk. I also would like to welcome our audience who just joined our FB Live session tonight. We just finished with our first panel, Mr. Kian. And with that, I would like to invite our second panel, Miss Angel, to talk about investing.
Okay. Good evening. Wait for a while, huh?
Okay, no worries, Angel.
Okay. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Angel. So, tonight's speaker for the investment planning topic. So, I will share with you what is the important and the basic concept of the investment. So let us have a look on the current Malaysia financial challenges. So life expectancy of Malaysia is at an average of 75 years. So the question is that have you saved and invest to generate enough funding for you to sustain for 15 or 20 years after you retire at the age 55 or 60? So survey also shown that in order to enjoy your monthly post-retirement income of 3,000, you must have at least a minimum 720,000 at the age of your retirement. So are you ready? What if you live longer, more than 75 years? So survey also indicate that Malaysia are not able to make a rational financial decision. Statistics show that from 2015 up to the quarter one of 2017, total financial losses amounted to 375 million Malaysian ringgit. So how can you have a holistic view on your financial before you make a rational financial decision? Okay, so next, let's us see what is the risk that we are facing nowadays. One of the risks that we are facing nowadays actually is the longevity risk. So with the better medical treatment, medical system, so we have the higher chances to live longer actually. So as the statistic for of life expectancy Malaysia in 2019, it already showed that a newborn in 2019 is expected to live up to 74.5 years. So that is one of the reason we have to look for a way to let our money work hard for us. So what is the objective The next one will be we come into the importance of the investment. So what is the objective of the investment planning? So basically, it's actually to generate a long-term, consistent, and competitive return with a minimal risk tolerance level. So which means that we also want to make our money to work hard to fight over the inflation. So to make of course what with the investment you for sure you have some life goal you like to achieve. So example, some of the people make investment, they would like to have the retirement funding in place, education, wedding, passive income, travel, and many others. Different people have the different life priorities. So but how you initiate the investment planning actually? So before you start to invest, you must sure need to know that where are you today. So where you want to be in the future, then only then you know how to get there. So to grow your net worth, actually there is the four factors need to be evaluated by you. Okay, I think just now Kian has shared quite detail on the financial risk. So I just recap a little bit on the financial risk. So from here, a few questions you need to be triggering yourself, like just now Kian sharing. If there is the death cases, whether you have leave enough funding for your family member to survive. So if in the critical illness, do you have the enough coverage to let the insurance company to pay for you, or you want to pay from your pocket? So do you have the enough emergency funding to pay for your car repair lah, if any experience any minor or major breakdown? So another one is that whether what happened to you and your family if the fire happened to burn down your house. So another last but not least is the are you optimizing on your old tax deduction to reduce the amount of tax exposure that you pay? So if the answer to all these you said no or not sure, then I will advise you you should get a professional to assist you in ensuring that you have reduced or eliminate all those relevant financial risks by transferring your risk to the insurance as your wealth protection tools. Okay, so the next one is on financial cost, the second factor. So evaluating your existing insurance and investment. So we actually need to reduce the cost and the impact, the cost that can impact the value of our net worth. Example like the high insurance premium or not suitable policy, and then high investment charges or the high mortgage interest rate. The third factor is on effective cash management. This one is related to the cash flow. So you need to evaluate your spending habit and remove the unnecessary costs to free up your cash flow. So ideally, you must have set for your emergency funding before you can start for the investing. So the ideal emergency funding is to set aside 6 months of your emergency funding. So the last factor to be considered is the proper investment strategy. So invest at the right vehicle to grow your net worth. So this means that actually there is a various investment vehicle out there, but which suitable to you? So let's see example like fixed deposit is one of the most common investment vehicle in the market, right? But is the fixed deposit is a good investment? So you can see from the deposit interest rate of Malaysia from year 1980s to 2017, the interest rate actually is dropping. So let's say the fixed deposit rate now is 2 plus, but the inflation rate also near to the 2 plus 1.9. So do you think this is a good investment, or does the money work for you? Okay, so if no, so what should be the way? Is there any better way? Okay, let us go into the basic concept of investment. So the first point we'd like to share is the time value of money. So for the time value of money is that future money actually equal to the present money plus the time. Okay, means that the money that is available at the present time is worth more than the same amount in the future to its potential earning capacity. Like example, today you have 100 ringgit, you can buy 5 items. But 5 years down the road, your same 100 ringgit may only can buy 2 out of the 5 items you can buy today. So means the purchasing power is not there anymore. right? So means that time actually allow you the opportunity to postpone the consumption and earn the interest, especially on the compounding interest. Okay, let's see the compounding interest. Okay, the beauty of the compounding interest. So when is the compounding occur? Actually, compounding occur when the returns produced by an investment are reinvested to generate interest on interest. So this one actually can help the interest and the account balance to grow. So the frequency of the compounding, whether it's compound on the yearly, on the quarterly, or on the monthly, and then the time horizon of the investment, interest rate, and the deposit, and the starting amount, all these one actually make the compounding interest powerful. However, this compounding interest is what good for our saving and the investment, but it's not really good for us to paying for the loan. Especially, I think common one is like credit card interest, right? Okay, so the next one, I will give a scenario example. Like let's say, assuming you have the annual return of 7% and monthly you set for 500. So if let's say you start young, like 25 years old, to save until 60 years old with the 500 per month with 7% return, so you will generate the future value about 900,000. But if you delay or start from only 10 years later, 35 years old to 60, then your future value is about 400 plus. So means that there is the gap, there is a difference of 500,000. So from here, actually, we know that the earlier you start to investing, actually the greater future value you will generate. So vice versa. So also in between, if you have some bonuses of extra money, actually it's encouraged to allocate and top up for your investment also, because they will help you to generate a greater future value also. So the third one is on the investment channel. So there is a common approved investment channel by Security Commission in Malaysia, which means it's the legal investment channel. So example like unit trust, stock market, share, bond, deviation, structured products, and the real estate or REITs. Okay, but each investment vehicle actually has a different level of risk and also the liquidity. So which investment vehicle actually suitable for you is based on your investment purpose, your investment time horizon, and your risk tolerance. So last but not least is to know your risk profile before you investing. The info needed actually is like what is your age, whether you have the emergency funding available before you start investing. So then to decide your availability to invest. So period of liquidate your investment. So total financial dependent, how many of people depend on you financially, and also the investment preferences. Example is Shariah compliant one or the conventional one. So the main purpose for risk profile actually is to assess your investment time horizon, your investment objective, and your risk profile. So because this one is important is because at the different life stages, you may have a different risk tolerance or the risk appetite. When you are at the younger age, example 20 to 30 years old, your with the advantage of the time horizon, your risk tolerance actually is higher compared to those who are at the age group above 50 or 50 and above. Okay, in summary, actually to invest, to start the investment planning to grow your net worth, first thing to need to identify your investment purpose or what is your goals. Then need to address the four factors that is like financial risk, financial cost, cash management, and investment strategy. Then you need to know what is your time horizon for holding the investment. Then find out which combination or investment channel that's suitable for you. Then finally, understand your risk tolerance. So to have the holistic view on your financial situation, do consult the licensed financial planner to have the better understanding on your financial situation before you make the rational financial decision. Okay, thank you. And then please leave your query or comment, if any, in the chat. So we will attending all those in the Q&A section later. So I will pass back to Kai.
Okay, thank you, Angel, for the presentation. So this is a very good talk about how to identify your investment purpose and also your time horizon. So I hope audience can take note from this presentation. So I would like to remind again to our audience, if you have any questions, any inquiries, just comment in the comment section, and then our panel will answer them in the Q&A session. So we finally come to our last panel, Miss Eyvonne. Eyvonne will talk about how to plan for your estate planning.
Okay, thank you, Kai. Let me just share
Welcome.
my screen.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So for tonight, I will be sharing on estate planning. So the two things that I will be talking on is on what is estate planning and why is estate planning important. Okay, so when we talk about estate planning, usually the first thing that comes into your mind will be will writing. It's not wrong to say that, but will is just one of the tools that you can use for estate planning. And estate planning is actually one of a component in financial planning, and it's a very crucial piece of puzzle to complete the whole financial planning process. So asset planning will help to preserve your assets that you have accumulated. So what is estate planning? Estate planning is the process of preparation and arranging during a person's life for the management and distribution of that person's estate in the event of incapacitated or death. And asset planning can help to address the asset distribution to be according to a person's wish. So asset distribution, can be done in many ways, whether it's through a living will, a trust, through charity or insurance. So let's look at what are the tools in asset planning. Okay, as you can see here, will writing, which is the basic thing to do in asset planning. Will is a legal document that sets forth your wishes on how and who you want to distribute your assets, your properties, care for your minor children, and so on. Then nomination, which is you appoint a person to become the nominee or beneficiary. For example, nomination in your EPF, nomination in ASB, Tabung Haji, or even unit trust. Then assignment and trust. Trust is a legal arrangement between a settlor and a trustee, whereby the settlor will transfer the property to the trustee for them to hold, manage, and distribute for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So other tools such as like hibah for the Muslim, power of attorney, buy-sell agreement, harta sepencarian, offshore company, offshore trust, family foundation. So these are the tools that we can use in estate planning. Okay, so why is estate planning important? Many Malaysians are still not aware that their wealth will be frozen upon their demise. Whether your assets are liquid assets or fixed assets like property, land, okay, all these will be frozen. So let's look at some of the newspaper here. Estates worth of 42 billion have been frozen, and estates worth 60 billion left unclaimed for almost 60 years. So here in the article, it says that most of the time it's because the attitude of not wanting to know the procedures, which agency to manage the asset distribution that caused them, the heirs to fail to inherit all this money. And then there are also beneficiaries who consider the process as slow, expensive, and inconvenient. Okay, so there is a legal process to unlock the wealth. Okay, so let's look at what are the process. In Malaysia, as the administration process, if you have a estate worth more than 2 million, okay, you need to go through a high court. So over here, you can see that when we pass away, all our assets frozen. And if we pass away intestate, means that without a wasiat or will. Okay, then what we have to go through is we have to apply administrative authority, and we have to select an administrator with a written agreement from all the beneficiaries. So if either one of the beneficiaries do not, agree to appoint this person, then it cannot go through. Then after that, only you can do an application through the Shariah court for Faraid certificate. and then appoint an administrator. Then the administrator will have to value all the assets. And then he has to find also 2 guarantors, and the asset of these 2 guarantors has to be equal or more than the asset of the deceased. Okay? Then only after that you can go to the High Court to do an application for letter of administration. Then after that, with the LA, you can collect all the assets. The executor collect the assets, advertise in the Gazette, so to inform the debtors to collect the money. Then after settle all the debts, for Muslim, they will do a distribution through matrimonial property, which is harta sepencarian. Then at last only they can, distribute according to Faraid law to the beneficiaries. So as you can see, the process is quite long and tedious. And for non-Muslim, the only difference here is non-Muslim do not have to apply Faraid certificate. And then on the last part here, it will be distribute according to the Distribution Act 1958. Okay, let's compare.
Eyvonne, I have a question. So before this, you said about advertising Gazette. So can you explain for the benefit of our audience what is actually a Gazette in this context?
Okay, a Gazette is like you post a notice, to inform. If I'm not mistaken, it's for 3 months. For those, you maybe the deceased have owed some money. Okay, so for those who can come and claim for their debts, okay, or somebody who they think that they are the rightful heirs, they can also come and claim. Okay. Okay, so coming next is on the process if we die testate. Okay, testate means with a wasiat or a will. So here for Muslim, you can straight away go to the Shariah court to apply for a Faraid certificate. Okay, then to the High Court to apply for grant of probate. And with that, you can collect all the assets, means that you can unfrozen the assets, advertise in the Gazette, settle all your debts, and distribute through matrimonial. And then the final one is to distribute according to your wasiat. Okay, so you can see that the process here is much simpler, okay, and shorter. Okay, so the transfer process can be overwhelmed because upon death and once your assets are frozen, until you distribute the money to your beneficiaries, this may take 1.5 years or even more than 3 years. So at that time, how do you make sure that your family or your dependents have sufficient funding? So this is the question that I need to trigger. Okay, and then where can your family or dependents get all this funding to pay for their cost of living, because life still goes on for them. So you need to pay for food, utility bills, education, loan repayments, and so on. So the solution is to have a proper estate planning. But estate planning, estate administration costs can be very costly. Why do I say that? Let me just show you, the fee structure by Amanah Raya Berhad. Okay, this is how they charge. The first 25,000, they charge 5%. Then the next 225,000, they charge 4%, and so on. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Okay, what is the distribution cost for estate worth 1 million? Okay, so over here you can see that it's about almost 28,000 of distribution costs. And other than that, there are other fees. For example, when you apply a grant of probate or LA letter from the court, it may range from 4,000 and above. Other than that, if you get a court order, it could cost up to 8,000. And for property, when you transfer the title and all that, and the lawyer fees and all that, this is another few thousand. Okay, so it's very costly. So the thing here is, will is just the first step to unlock all your assets. Okay, having a will, can ensure that your estates can be transferred smoothly and faster to your intended beneficiaries, to prevent the lengthy and tedious process. And with the will, the process may take 6 months or up to 1.5 years, depending on how complex your assets is. Then without a will, it might take more than 3 years. Okay, so in order to minimize your impact, the financial impact to your family before passing, as what mentioned in the article, most of the time reason for not claiming all the money is because it's very expensive, and then they have no immediate money funding for them. So with the trust, you can fulfill various objectives of your wish. Like for example, you can set up a trust to set up education funding for your children, to pay for the living maintenance of your family, or you can choose to do a charity to any organization, successive generations, creditor protection. So when you set up a trust, after 5 years, it will be creditors proof, and then settlement of debts and so on. Okay, so this is to fulfill different objective, and it will help to minimize financial burden to your family and also bring peace of mind to them. Okay, so the objectives of estate planning is to ensure that the maximum value of your wealth is distributed to your dependents according to your genuine wish, and then to prevent leakage of your asset to the government and others in the form of taxes and administrative charges. Okay, and the benefits of getting your asset planning right is reduce the possibility of future disharmony by identifying potential conflicts or disputes, resolve difficulty, dividing property for distribution, especially, for those, this is some of the, real case that I've heard, one property is distributed to 5%. So how are they going to, agree upon whether to sell it, to rent it out, or, so these are the problems. Then to provide for minors and children with special needs, and then provides for aging parents, okay, and keep your assets safe and ease the burden of your family. So I would really like to urge everybody to do a proper asset planning. So you can get a licensed financial planner to help you plan for you and for your family. Okay, thank you so much. Back to you, Kai.
Thank you, Eyvonne, for the presentations about planning for your estate planning. So we finally come to the Q&A sessions. So right now we are looking for the questions. So just to remind our audience, just type out the questions in the comment section, and then our panelists will try to answer them. So we have questions from Muhammad Zaid. So the question is, my salary is very low. How can I save money?
Okay, the salary is very low. What does the low means too? Okay, first thing first, of course, you need to identify whether the income and the expenses. The expenses, the spender is the is this must be spent, or there is some expenses actually uh, can be set over. So if really low, then you cannot identify any expenses is not unnecessary. Then you should have a way to have another source of income. And another way is that if you do have the place to save over, then build the habit of saving. Because now today when you go out, you spending, you also spend 100 ringgit, 50 ringgit. So build your own habit first to start set some amount. At least you set some amount with a lump sum. Even though you set a few hundred or 1,000, but it's the amount that you can start to invest. It doesn't mean that you must be invest will come with the 10,000 or those things. To build your own habit on the saving first.
Okay. Okay. The next question is, how do I know how much I need for my life insurance?
I think this is a very standard questions about how much I need each and every one of us need in terms of the insurance, the amount that we need. Again, we need to go back to our cash flow. Of course, at a glance, we need to know how much is our actually income, then how much is our expenses. So do a tally on that. For example, the number of expenses times how many years. So that is one of the benchmark we can actually use for death and disability, family income, and also income replacement calculations. So, for example, if you are earning 5,000, okay, let's say this is your earning. We are using income. This is one of the examples you can use. Income 5,000 times 5 years. So that's 60,000 per year times 5 years. So that's 300,000. That is one of the way that we actually can determine how much do you need in terms of your life insurance coverage. Of course, we have many other different methods when we work out more details, cash flow, asset liabilities scenario. So this is one of the examples that we can actually quote to answer these questions.
Okay, thank you, Kian, for the answer. So the next question is now the right time to invest? I believe this is like everyone thoughts right now. It's now the right time to invest.
Okay, I think this question is a common question.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we always tell our client, don't time the market, because those event, whatever happened, that actually is out of our control. You still need to back to the basic. What is your investment objective? What is your time horizon? And what is your risk profile? So, even though this kind of incident or event happened, you can see even in 2000 or 2002, those time also has SARS, and then between has some financial crisis. So every time there's crisis, there is also an opportunity. So it's just that still back to your own financial what is your financial investment objective, time horizon, and also the risk profile.
Okay, thank you, Angel. I have done my EPF nomination. Should I still put it into my will? What happened if I didn't do nomination for my EPF?
Okay, for this question, if you have done your APF nomination, basically you do not have to put it into your will, because even if you put it in the will, the nomination in EPF will override the will, because especially if for non-Muslim, it is like a nomination where the beneficiary that you name is the rightful beneficiary. But however, for Muslim, if you have done your EPF nomination, the beneficiary is the wasi only. Means that they are just like a trustee to hold the money, and then they have to distribute it either according to Faraid law if you do not have a wasiat, or if you have a wasiat, then it will distribute according to the wasiat. Okay, so what happened if you did not do nomination for EPF? So same thing, if you did not do nomination and if you do not have a will, then it will be distributed according to, for Muslim, according to Faraid law, and for non-Muslim, according to the Distribution Act. Okay, hope I answer your question.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Yvonne. So, okay, we have a question from our audience. Even though I plan to be in Malaysia for my whole life, does it make sense to diversify into other currency or overseas asset? So, anyone want to answer? Is it make sense to diversify into other currency or overseas asset?
Okay, first thing first is what is the intention when you come to this decision on want to diversify on the currency or overseas asset. You are planning to be whole life in Malaysia, but whether you have a plan to let your children go overseas for study, or there is any uh, opportunity that you think that actually is for the currency investment. But it's still back to what is your risk tolerance. It's okay that you can do the currency investment, but for the overseas asset, you need to be more cautious because different country have a different distribution aid. When you have the investment overseas, not only looking at the portion of the investment, you also need to think about what is your purpose, what is your exit plan. Today you invested, but whether you are invested for sell off in within how many years, or actually you are invested due to next time your children actually will go to the overseas that country to study, and you are preparing for this one. If not, if anything happen to you, estate planning side will have the issue. I hope this one give you some idea.
Okay, thank you, Angel. Okay, do we have other questions? Let's see. Okay, what investment asset classes should I invest in?
Okay, investment classes at this moment, of course, it is still back to what is your risk tolerance, but it's the combination of the asset classes is the best lah. I mean, what we mean is the asset allocation. There is no preferences of a specific investment classes. If at this moment the equity market is in the adjustment, then for sure the coefficient correlationship of the bond will be the one who are growing. But it's the it's better that come to the managed portfolio on the diversification instead of specific to one asset title.
Okay, Angel, thank you. So, Kian, Eyvonne, do you have further thoughts about what Angel just shared just now?
I'll say is actually totally making sense on understanding your risk profile and also what asset classes have you been exposed to currently. So do you need to expose to different asset classes, additional asset classes that you accept from what you are currently having? So if, for example, if let's say you are currently investing in property, this is one of the asset classes that we are talking about. So is property currently making, I think, some of the people say, yeah, last time, yes, but now, no. I would have bought it at this price, but now the price is even lower than the market, my purchase price. So then it's not a forever, a good asset classes to hold. But again, it goes back to what Angel has spoke out just now. It's actually on how many years. What is your intention of these asset classes? For example, if you buy a property, do you intend to sell it off in how many years? Or you liquidate in due to education is coming for the children, so you need to liquidate your asset. So then that will actually force back into a investment objective. Why do you hold this investment asset or these classes or the so many classes that you have? Yeah, back to you, Kai.
Okay.
I think I would agree with Angel.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on your risk tolerance. There are many types of risk tolerance, from aggressive, moderately aggressive, to balanced, to conservative. So when we talk about asset classes, is between fixed income and equities. So let's say, for example, if you are balanced risk profile, then you should be investing 50% in fixed income and 50% in equity. Okay, so that's how you decide what type of risk appetite are you, and what kind of asset classes to invest in.
Okay, we have a question from Kian Sang Lim. So on the overseas investment, can Eyvonne advise the implication on estate planning and distribution? So this question is
Okay.
for Eyvonne. Mm-hmm.
Okay, basically, if you have assets that is in overseas, we do advise that you get two different will. Okay, if let's say you have in Malaysia, you write the will in Malaysia, and let's say if you have assets in UK, you get the somebody an asset planner or a will writer in UK to write another will, because different countries have a different distribution act and law. So by right, you should have different wills as well lah.
Okay, thank you, Eyvonne. So I guess that marks the end of our session for tonight. Before we end, I would like to state our disclaimer. So this information is for general information purpose only. All information shall not be construed as a recommendation or to participate in any financial solution. In no event will be liable for any loss or in connection with the use of this information. So on the final thought, please contact us if you have any questions, any inquiries about financial planning, about estate planning, about investing, and about managing your risk. Please contact us at hi@wellvantage.com.my, or can just leave us a comment in the comment section or message us at our media social account at Wellvantage Malaysia. So thank you everyone for joining us for our session tonight. I would like to thank Kian, Angel, and Eyvonne for a very good presentation. I hope the audience can benefit from this presentation, and I hope that we can meet again in the future. Thank you everyone. Stay safe. Follow the SOP, and have a good night and good weekend, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night,
Good night.
everyone. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone. Bye.